listening to The Forefront Radio, where we discuss history, the Bible, the history of the Israelites, science, and other matters. Bring it out. The history of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans as it relates to the Bible. Who were you prior to slavery? Who were you prior to colonization? These answers and more can be seen and heard as you listen to The Forefront Radio. Welcome to The Forefront Radio. Welcome to The Forefront Radio. I'm your host, Aphiel Levi. Hope everybody's doing all right. Hope everybody's doing all right. So today's discussion is Brothers at War, Prophecy Fulfilled. India versus Pakistan, Conflict Explained. So we're going to get right into the nitty-gritty of this thing, y'all. We're going to get into a biblical-based discussion in regards to what's going on with Pakistan and India. What's going on with Pakistan and India? So let's go back to the days of the Medes and the Persians. Today we turn our eyes eastward to the lands of the Indus and the Ganges, Pakistan and India, two nations once bound by history, culture, and blood, are once again locked in the grips of violent conflict. Missiles fly, borders burn, and civilians always suffer. But what lies beneath this warfare? Is this just politics and land disputes, or is there a deeper, more ancient wound beneath the soil of the subcontinent? Let's unravel this prophecy and let's go back to the days of the Medes and the Persians. In the days of antiquity, the Medes and Persians were a powerful force, twin kingdoms united in conquest, forming the backbone of what the Bible calls the second beast in the book of Daniel. Isaiah prophesied of their rise. Jeremiah spoke of their judgment. These peoples trace today to the modern Iranians, Afghans, and even parts of India and Pakistan, once moved as a single unit. Yet today, we see bitter division. Allies have become enemies, brothers now adversaries. Here is a clip and a news article detailing these events in 2025. Let's get right into it, y'all.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today on 10th May at the time of Fajr, we have given a strong punch to our coward enemy. Alhamdulillah. Nare Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
And as you can see, folks, this is just one step towards WW3. And so many people aren't aware of this situation and need to be enlightened on what's going on. So, according to TRT Global, we see here that Pakistan and Indians conflict. Pakistan launches retaliatory strikes on Indian military sites. Pakistan's military says it struck Indian BrahMos missile storage facility and air bases in Pathankot and Udhumpur. If I said that incorrectly, I apologize. In India, administered Kashmir 10 hours ago. Pakistan has launched retaliatory military action, Operation Bunyan un Marsus, against India, according to the country's state broadcaster, amid soaring tensions between the nuclear armed rivals. Operation Bunyan un Marsus begins, the government of Pakistan said on an X, formerly known as Twitter, post announcing strikes on Indian military sites. Bunyan un Marsus translates to solid structure or impenetrable wall. Pakistan stated the strikes were in response to India's initial assault, which targeted their land, people, and sovereignty. The Pakistani army said it destroyed a missile storage site in India's Beas region as part of the operation, as well as two army bases. State broadcaster PTV also claimed that India's S 400 missile defense system was destroyed in an airstrike. Quote, Pakistan's blatant attempt to violate India's sovereignty, endanger civilians, is unacceptable. Indian Army will thwart enemy designs. That's the end of quote from the Indian Army. That's they said in the statement hours after the Pakistani action. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, things are ramping up. Things are ramping up in India and Pakistan. Y'all, this is Bible prophecy. Let me say it again for the kids in the back. This is Bible prophecy. If you didn't know, now you know, right? Like they say in the streets, this is gearing up towards World War III. You understand? So all of this is biblical based prophecies, and we need to be aware of what's going on so that way we can enlighten the public on the conflict between these brothers at war and the prophecy being fulfilled in both India versus Pakistan. And this conflict is going to be better explained through the scriptures. So now, the question for the critical thinker is this: why? Why is this taking place right now? Because history has a price, and prophecy always demands fulfillment. Now, throughout the centuries, these regions were no strangers to the trafficking and oppression of the Afro Hebraic community and native populations. Historical records show that the involvement of Persian and Indian rulers in the trans-regional slave trades, from the Indian Ocean trade routes to the Arab-Persian corridors that sold our people into captivity. African Hebrews, Israelites scattered across Africa and the East were sold, castrated, and dehumanized. The sin did not go unnoticed by the Most High. Let's examine some prophecy. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 34, and let's see if what we're seeing here is biblical based prophecies occurring in Pakistan and India. What were their ancient names? The Medes and the Persians. The Medes and the Persians. Let's go to it real quick. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah and let's read the prophecy that God gave to Jeremiah of judgment on Elam. Judgment on Elam. Judgment on Elam. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 34. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet, meaning this man made predictions, and those predictions came true. Against Elam, what does the Bible say? Against Elam, what does the Bible say? Against Elam, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, saying. Now, Elam was the descendants of melanated Shemites. Elam came from Shem. They combined themselves with a joint empire of the children of the Medes, also known as Madai. Madai are the descendants of Japheth when you read Genesis chapter 10. So you had Japheth and Shemites coming together against the sons and daughters of Jacob to place them into captivity after the Babylonian Empire. So they took over the realm of Babylon, and this was prophesied at the beginning of the kingdom of Zedekiah, king of Judah. Judgment on Elam. Listen close. Verse 34, verse 35. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, meaning the God of armies, behold, I will break the bow of Elam. I will break the bow of Elam. You know, bow and arrow, the chief of their might. They fought with bows and arrows. They were a strong military force, meaning what? God is going to destroy and dismantle the kingdom of the Elamites and the Persians. You understand? This was judgment that took place to these people groups known as Elam. That's people usually go by the modern terms like India, Pakistan, Iran, Afghan, but they had biblical based names. Verse 36, upon Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of the earth, and will scatter them toward all those winds, and there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. You wonder why you see East Indians in every country, every nation, every place? Is because God sent judgment to them due to the fact that they enslaved our ancestors, and God used the other nations of their allies to hold them into their own captivity as well as in danger, as what do they call them? Indentured servants. That's what the British did. That's what the French did. That's what the Portuguese did. That's what America did. That's why you can go to the hood and find East Indians. That's why you could go to Jamaica and find East Indians. That's why you could find people from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Hindustan, and all of these areas of India and Iranians scattered all throughout the world, meaning God's prophecy was true. Why I go to Suriname and I find East Indians there? Why I go to South Africa and I find East Indians there? Why I go to Malawi, Tanzania, or Ghana and find East Indians there? They went into captivity through indentured servitude, just like the Israelites that they enslaved during their Elamite, Median, Persian Empire. The Bible is a true book, y'all. Things come full circle. Now, because of this thing, God is making them, Pakistan and India, fight against each others. They are brothers now at war with one another. Watch this. Verse 37, for I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies and before them that seek their life. And I will bring upon them even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. Who said it? God said it. Who said it? God said it. And I will send the sword after them, meaning war, meaning conflict, till I have consumed them. You see, right now in 2025, Pakistan and India fighting against each other. And there has always been conflicts and division between these groups. And we'll elaborate it more with some history. Verse 38, and I will set my throne in Elam and will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. Who said it? God said it. So this happened during the time of the Greeks, during the time of the Romans, during British occupation, British invasion, Portuguese invasion, French occupation. All of this happens. History repeats itself over and over and over. Verse 39, but it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. Who said it? God said it. Who said it? God said it. Y'all, the Bible is a true book. The Bible is a true book. We read you in the Bible earlier in different podcasts how Jerusalem will be on fire. Guess what's happening right now in 2025? Jerusalem is on fire. In 2025, Jerusalem is on fire. And we prophesied it before it happened in a previous class called Jerusalem, a Plowed Field. I think it was like 6-7 months ago we brought out that class, right? We talked about wars and rumors of wars on previous broadcasts. And you see these conflicts ramping up. Conflicts, wars, and covert operations leading up to World War III. Y'all, the Bible is a true book. You understand? So now with the biblical passages that we just played, let's play the video again from TRT World where you see missile technology being utilized from Pakistan and India. Watch this.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today on 10th May at the time of Fajr, we have given a strong punch to our coward enemy. Alhamdulillah. Nare Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
So, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, they are not playing no games. This is my recommendation for the Afro-Hebraic community that is scattered and displaced around these nation states. Do not get involved with their conflict. Get away. Don't be in their armies. Don't be trying to wave your little flag and salute with them and all of that stuff. Stay out of their business. Let them duke it out. These are all prophecies that the Creator said had to take place. We just read it in the Bible. So God said, the word of the Lord that came to the prophet Jeremiah against Elam, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might, and I will scatter them toward all the winds. Now, Elam, the ancient names of parts of Iran, southern Iraq, and by extension, their neighboring eastern allies, these were people once entrusted with might. But because of their sins, including their roles in enslaving the ancient Hebrews, they too were sentenced to captivity and displacement, scattering. Now, fast forward to 1947, the partition of India, and one of the bloodiest geopolitical splits of the 20th century, British colonizers, after years of divide and rule tactics, pulled out and left chaos in their wake. India became two, India and Pakistan. Brother fought against brother. Over 1 million people were killed. Millions more were displaced. Hindus and Sikhs fled one way. Muslims fled another. What was once a shared civilization between the Medes and the Persians have fractured violently. Violently. As a matter of fact, let's bring out a quick document where we can read on the partition of the Elamite Empire. Let's read that document real quick on Wikipedia. Let's read that on Wikipedia real quick. Let me pull that partition. Partition of India. Partition of India. Let's read that real quick. All right. So we call it history. The Bible calls it prophecy. Shalom to you. J-Bo, hope you're doing all right. Thank you for joining in on our live discussion. Let's go ahead and let's read this information pertaining to the partition of India. Partition of India, 1947, was the division of British India into two independent dominion states, the Union of India and Dominion of Pakistan. The Union of India is today the Republic of India, and the Dominion of Pakistan is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the People's Republic of Bangladesh. You see that? The partition involved the division of two provinces, Bengal and the Punjab, based on the district wise Hindu or Muslim majorities. It also involved the division of the British Indian Army, the Royal Indian Navy, the Indian Civil Service, the railways, and the central treasury between the two new dominions. The partition was set forth in the Indian Independence Act of 1947 and resulted in the dissolution of the British Raj, or Crown Rule, in India. The two self governing countries of India and Pakistan legally came into existence at the midnight of August the 14th and 15th of 1947. The partition displaced between 12 and 20 million people along religious lines. Y'all see how religion really destroys people. One side is Muslim, another side is into Hinduism, and the divide and conquer was set up by the British, creating overwhelming refugee crises in the newly constituted dominions. There was large scale violence, with estimated loss of life accompanying or preceding the partition disputed and varying between several hundred thousand and 2 million. Wow. The violent nature of the partition created an atmosphere of hostility and suspicion between India and Pakistan that plagues their relationship to the present day. To the present day. To the present day. Y'all see that? So God's judgment is real. He sent a sword amongst Elam. Now watch this, watch this, watch this. Let's go to Afro Indians. Because we don't know, there's a whole entire book called the Book of Esther, right? And the Book of Esther and the Book of Ezra and Nehemiah talk about our people that were scattered, Black Jews that were scattered into these regions. So now we're going to go to this discussion on the Afro-Indian, also known as the Sidi. The Sidi, also pronounced as Shidi or Sidi or Sidhi, are a Muslim majority Bantu ethno-religious living mostly in Pakistan. This is Black folks, right, that were taken into captivity in Pakistan. Watch this. Some Sidis also lived in India. You see that? So you got the Indian side where they were forcefully converted to Hinduism, and you got the Pakistani side where they were forcefully converted to Muslim Islam tradition. But guess who they are? The descendants of Hebrews, Israelites. This picture that you see right here, folks, this looked like folks that you could readily see in various places of our diaspora where we were scattered. Watch this. It says they primarily descended from Bantu peoples of the Zanj coast. Zanj is land of the blacks, aka land of the Hebrews, in Southeast Africa, most of whom came to the Indian subcontinent through the Indian Ocean slave trade. The Indian Ocean slave trade. The Indian Ocean slave trade. Others arrived as merchants, sailors, indentured servants, and mercenaries. Y'all see that? You can't make this stuff up, y'all. So the same group of people that put us in captivity, now God is making them go to war with one another. God is making them go to war with each other. Wow. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. The Bible is a true book, an amazing book. An amazing book that speaks facts on top of facts on top of facts on top of facts. We call it history. The Bible calls it what? Prophecy. So now, decades later, the hostility continues. The recent war is not just about Kashmir or borders, it's about spiritual unraveling. a divine judgment playing out on the world stage. Just as the Medes and the Persians once stood united and now war against each other, so too do their modern descendants repeat their fate. Because when nations raise themselves up against the Most High and oppress his chosen people, judgment follows. What we are witnessing is not random, it's prophecy, it's retribution, it's history folding in on itself. Let's not forget, the Indian people themselves were once colonized, enslaved, and brutalized by empires from the West. Britain, France, Portugal all took their share. The indignities suffered during colonial rule parallel the warnings Jeremiah gave to the Elamites. You too will drink of the cup of wrath. No one escapes judgment. Now, what does this mean for us in the Afro-Hebraic community? It means we must stay watchful. That's why the Messiah said, watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. If you know of our people that are scattered in these regions, tell them not to get involved with this conflict, to remove themselves if they can from those regions where we have war going on, move to greener pastures or safer places in Africa or in the Caribbean islands where there is no war. Stay informed, stay in the scriptures, because the time of revelation is here. And the nations that once shared the spoils of slavery will now share the sword of division. This has been the Forefront Radio. I'm Aphiel Levi Israel, reminding you that the Most High sees all and prophecy never fails. Until next time, stay aware, stay awoken, and sin not, because now is our salvation near than when we first believed. Thank y'all so much for watching and tuning into the Forefront Radio. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe.
You are now listening to the Forefront Radio, where we discuss history, the Bible, the history of the Israelites, science, and other matters. Bring it out. The history of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans as it relates to the Bible. Who were you prior to slavery? Who were you prior to colonization? These answers and more can be seen and heard as you listen to the Forefront Radio.